Hey everybody, as always, I hope you're doing well, and I want to give you an update on what's going on in Washington, D.C. this week. Now, first off, I want to talk about the rising prices that are impacting families in Florida, across the country, in our community. There are very real, tangible steps that Congress could take right now, today, to alleviate some of that pressure. I'm not saying they could fix everything, but Congress could help. Congress is not, unfortunately. Here's a list of a few of the things that I believe we should be doing as members of Congress to help. Repeal the 18.4 cents per gallon gas tax and the 22 cents per gallon diesel tax. It's not an end-all be-all, but it makes the price of gas cheaper. Repeal the excise tax on big rig tractor trailers so that more truckers can get on the road and get the goods we need from A to B faster and cheaper in newer vehicles if that's what they want to buy. Authorize members of the Army Corps of Engineers to go to work in ports or in shipping places and other places to increase efficiency and reduce the backlog caused by the union stronghold on operations. Make it available for those that want to drive trucks to use a Pell Grant to get their CDL license, like so many other students get to use a Pell Grant to go to school in other places. While we're at it, reinstate the Remain in Mexico policy for people coming into our country illegally so that Customs and Border Patrol agents who are dramatically overworked are able to focus more attention on the customs part of their job, as opposed to being babysitters for illegal immigrants crossing our border or even moving them illegally around the country. Make it easier for active duty military members and veterans to transfer their skills and certifications from when they were serving in the military to the private sector, getting more truckers on the road. That helps the supply chain crisis. President Biden's policies have made everything more expensive. That's not debatable. Inflation is at a 40-year high. We need solutions, and I will continue to advocate for that here in Congress, even as the Biden administration continues to attempt to shift blame literally to everybody else, like Vladmir Putin, trying to pretend as though the inflation just began with Ukraine and Vladimir Putin, instead of the fact that inflation began the day that he was inaugurated. Now, on that note, we begin this week with a powerful address from the Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky. He spoke to members of the House of Representatives and members of the Senate in Washington, D.C. from a war-torn Kiev. From a city that's been bombed, he made a desperate plea to the United States to step up and be the leaders of the world that we claim to be, and be the leaders of peace as well. But after hearing directly from a leader whose country is under siege, unprovoked, whose people are being indiscriminately murdered, who asked for help from 435 members of the House of Representatives and 100 senators, all of those individuals, we stood up, we applauded like members of the British Parliament did a week prior, and then promptly went about our daily lives. There was no emergency meeting. There was no joint session of the House Foreign Affairs Committee and the Senate Foreign Relations Committee to sit down and discuss the request from Zelensky. That didn't take place. There was no discussion at all on how Congress would respond to Putin's aggression. Across party lines, there are lots of differing opinions on what should be done about the war in Ukraine. But there are questions that need to be answered. Questions like this: what red lines will be drawn for Vladimir Putin? Chemical weapons? Tactical nukes? Only violation of a NATO border? What if somebody that's a U.S. reporter gets killed there? Those questions aren't being answered. Will we provide more weapons to Ukraine? What kind? MiGs, surface-to-air missiles? Does economic warfare constitute an escalation of warfare, and will that get us more involved? These are questions that members of Congress are asking individually, but if you think that there are hearings that are going on, things going on behind the scenes where your government is literally trying to debate these issues, you would be wrong, and that is a major problem. I don't believe that we will all have the same answers to those questions. And there are strong opinions throughout Congress and throughout our country, but we were elected to have that debate. Not doing so is an abdication of duty. Thankfully, the House took a step in that direction this week Even as the administration has faltered, in an overwhelmingly bipartisan vote, we moved to strip Russia and Belarus of normal trade status, which ends free trade between our two countries and will subject all of their goods to tariffs. When the United States military launches an offensive, it involves infantry on the ground, jets covering the skies, snipers providing cover. It is a full-throttle effort to defeat the enemy. Like any conflict, if the U.S. is going to engage in economic warfare, we can't half-ass it. It has to be all or nothing. This bill is a part of that all-out economic warfare effort. Now, I'm going to continue to push in Congress to have tough debates so that we pass legislation like this and make sure that we are standing up for democracy. So in that, as always, is it an honor to serve you, honor to represent you. Look forward to seeing you all around home. You all take care.